questions. One is off the lesson you did, and then one is just off the cuff. The one about your lesson, if you can, when you went to the story of the Good Samaritan and the priests, and when they passed over, that when he asked that question about who is my neighbor, and then Jesus answered him, and he said about the person who had mercy. Is so go into detail a little bit about that, because the way he answered the question, it made it seem like only one person out of those three was his neighbor when he said the one who had mercy, because it looks like the only one that had mercy was the Samaritan. So can you explain a little bit more about that?
Exactly, brother. All right. Thanks for that question. And it is. Let's go back there. Luke chapter 10. The one that acted neighborly, or who was neighbor, was in fact the Samaritan. And I like the way that the Lord spoke this parable, because when Jesus came on the scene, he said, I ain't come but to the lost sheep of Israel. He only come to the lost sheep of Israel, right? Because Israel had to be restored. They had to get repaired, because they're going to be the priests to the whole world. We had dropped the ball. The 9 tribes, they had got took away from the Assyrian army, scattered in the Africa. But the only ones there at that time was Judah, Levi, and Benjamin. All right, so under Roman occupation. So now he's coming into to Israel, because like we read earlier, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in the seat of Moses. Do what they tell you, but don't do as they do. So now the lawyer, like I said, let's read it. He was tempting them. He came and tempted them. He said at verse 25, Luke 10. Read verse 25 real fast, and we're going to skip.
And behold, a certain lawyer stood up and tempted him, saying, Master, what will I do to inherit eternal life?
So now the key word there is tempted. You know what I mean? Like, he really didn't want to know. You know what I'm saying? He going really to test Jesus. And like the Pharisees, they always do. So we understand what it is. What does he say in the scriptures?
He said unto him, what is written in the law? How readest thou?
All right, so we know what it is. Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy mind, with all thy strength. All right, and love thy neighbor as thyself. But 29, what did he say?
But he, willing to justify himself, said unto Jesus, and whom is my neighbor?
Now let's see how he answered. See how he answered.
And Jesus answering said, a certain man went down to Jerusalem from Jericho, and fell among thieves, which stripped him of his raiment, and wounded him, and departed him, leaving him half dead. And by chance there came down a certain priest that way, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. And likewise a Levite, when he was at the place, came and looked on him, and passed by on the other side.
All right, stop. So what is the significance of that? I like saying it again. Significance is, turn to Isaiah chapter 43, I believe it is. Hold on.
You want me to hold my spot?
Yeah, hold your spot. Hold your spot here. We're going to just break this down a little bit.
Isaiah 43.
Mm-hmm. Mm, 43 to 43. All right. Isaiah 43. All right. Pick it up at verse 1.
But now thus saith the Lord that created thee, O Jacob.
All right. Thus saith the Lord that created thee, O Jacob. You know, Jacob got his name changed to Israel. He had 12 sons from the 12 tribes of Israel. Lord created us. What did he create us for? Go ahead.
And he that formed thee, O Israel, fear not, for I have redeemed thee. I have called thee by thy name. Thou art mine.
So now we the Lord's. Called us by name. He created this nation. What did he create us for? Skip down to verse 10.
Ye are my witnesses, saith the Lord.
Ye are my witnesses. So We the real Jehovah Witnesses. You know what I'm saying? We're his witnesses. What?
And my servant whom I have chosen, that ye may know and believe me, and understand that I am he. Before he there was no God formed, neither shall there be after me.
Keep going.
I, even I, am the Lord, and beside me there is no Savior.
So now understand, we are the witnesses to the world to show, like, listen, there is no other God. You can't get no salvation in no one else. And in order to get salvation, like Jesus said in John chapter 4, we know what we worship. For salvation is of the Jews. Meaning if you got to get any kind of anything about the God, you must come through us. All right. So now the significance of stay there. Go back to Luke. So the go to Psalms 49 first, and then we're gonna go back to Luke. The significance of Israel, I mean the Levite and the priest being there. We the priests of the whole world. The priest is the whole priest of the whole world. But then the Levite is the priest unto the priest, which basically you should know better. You got to know better, and how you treat this man, which is your neighbor, because we do the lesson. You've seen that everyone's your neighbor. You know what I mean? It don't matter. You should know better. 49 and 20, I believe it is. Let me see. What I say? 149. No.
149 or 49?
No. Wams. Psalms 147 and 19. Psalms 147 and 19, excuse me. We're his witnesses. All right. Go ahead.
He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel.
Go ahead.
He hath not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, that they have not known him.
They have not known him. So priest, Levite, the Lord gave it to us. No other nation knows this. I'd like to nail this in the, it just is what it is. God set it up to be this way. So much like Paul said, I take pride in being, not pride, he said, man, what's the pride? In his position that he had, for being, apostle to the Gentiles. Like he takes pride in that, like meaning like, this is what the Lord called me to do. It is what it is. And, the Lord gave it to me. Who really cares what you think? You know what I'm saying? It's written. So he showed his word unto Jacob, his statutes and judgments to Israel. He have not dealt so with any nation. And as far as his judgments, they have not known him. Praise ye the Lord. And just to bring it home again, because when I see that my brothers and my sisters are coming in and starting to find out that they're Israel, you know what I mean? What's the advantage of that? You know what I'm saying? And Paul also is going to show you the advantage of what Israel is. Go to Romans real fast. Romans chapter 3. We're going to get right back to it. Because once you understand this, you're going to understand the profound statement that Jesus is making when it comes to the Samaritan that's performing these acts. You know what I'm saying? So Romans chapter 3, and pick it up at verse 1.
What advantage then have the Jew, or what profit is there of circumcision?
What profit is there of circumcision? What advantage is it of being a Jew or being Israel, being Jacob? And what about circumcision? Circumcision simply means, those that's underneath the covenant of Abraham. What does he say? What's the answer?
Much every way.
Much every way. Chiefly why?
Because that unto them were committed the oracles of God.
So now, chiefly because unto us was committed the oracles or the answers of God. His mind, what's going on? That was committed to us. He has not dealt so with any other nation. You understand? So first and foremost, you're advantaged, not because you got black skin, you know what I mean, but because the God of the universe, the God that created everything, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, appeared only to you. Where here all the other nations been making up their own gods, They looking at the sun, the moon, and the stars as their God. You know what I mean? No one ever heard God audibly speak, but we can lay that claim and prove it. You understand what I'm saying? So now, this is why. So now, going back to Luke. Going back to Luke 10. He says at verse 31, by chance there came down a certain priest that way, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. And likewise a Levite, when he was at the place, came and looked on him and passed by on the other side. That's funny. But the Samaritan, who God never talked to them, God never appeared to them, God never committed to oracles of the Lord to them. The Samaritan that shouldn't know nothing about nothing, still doing what they do. Like for instance, go to Acts chapter 14. This is what the Lord did with the nations of the world before he put on notice the whole world with the law when he gave it to Moses and the children of Israel. See, the law was in the world, but it wasn't imputed to anybody right at the time. You understand? The Lord started imputing the law when we came out of Egypt, and then the law was given to us. Now he can put it on. He put the whole world on notice then. But look here, Acts chapter 14, and pick it up at verse 15. Because what happened here, Paul and Barnabas is coming through Laconia. And the people of Laconia were seeing their miracles and what they did, and they started worshiping Paul and Barnabas as Jupiter and Mercurius, all right? So, and they started bowing down, worshiping. They're going to rent their clothes like, men and sir, don't be doing this, man, because I'm men like you. So now, and they're going to admonish the people about how the Lord allowed them to do how they wanted to do. You know what I mean? So peep it. Peep it at 15. Go ahead.
And saying, sirs, why do ye these things? We also are men of like passion with you, and preach unto you that ye should turn from these vanities.
That's right.
Unto the living God.
Unto the true and living God. Go ahead.
Which made heaven and earth and the sea and all the things that are therein.
Now this God that made the heaven and the earth and the sea and all that, how did he let these people act back in the day? Read.
Who in times past suffered all nations to walk in their own ways.
See, he suffered all nations to walk in their own ways. You know what I mean? He didn't give them the law, statutes, commandments like that. So now, nevertheless, read 17.
Nevertheless, he left not himself without witness in that he did good and gave us rain from heaven and fruitful seasons.
So now, when you look in Psalms 19, it says the works of the Lord, they are all over. You know what I mean? They speak for themselves. The sun, the moon, just because they hear, the Lord shows his handiwork, so they know that there's a God around here. Then it goes on to tell you that the law of the Lord is perfect. You know what I mean? Converting the heart. The statutes of the Lord are pure, making wise the simple. You know what I'm saying? That all was given to Israel to give to everybody else. So now back to where we is at. Luke, the Samaritan that don't know nothing, that is supposed, you know what I mean? They took on the attributes, they're converts, but they came from a place where they was worshiping other gods. Well, you know, remember when they came into our land, because God got fed up with the 10 tribes, kicked them out. When they first got there, what happened to them? The lions was coming and ripping them up. Lions was killing them. You know what I mean? Remember this? Do you remember? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So lions ripping up, then they had to go get a Levite and come and show them the ways of God. And God let it be accepted with them. You know what I mean? So once you live in the land for, so many years, you start to take on the attributes. You start really actually thinking that I'm them. And Jesus just put them back into place in 19. So now, but verse 33, but a certain Samaritan, as he journeyed, came where he was, and when he saw him, he had compassion on him, like your father seeing us, or like a father seeing Israel in their own blood. and he walked by and he had compassion, you know what I'm saying? Took him underneath his skirt, you know what I'm saying? So it's like he working out the attributes of what the priest and the Levite supposed to do. He doing it. And now the lawyer that came and was being smug and being smart with Jesus, talking about, well, who is my neighbor? The Lord could have answered him straight out. But like you said, he answered him with a parable. You know what I mean? And he showed him like, boom, this is what it is. Yeah, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna let you, since you want to be smart, I'm gonna let you answer this question. Here, let me give you this story. You know what I'm saying? So we know what it is. He did what he did for the man. And then now, you want to ask me a question? Now I'm gonna ask you a question. At verse 36, read it.
Which now of these three thinkest thou was neighbor unto him that fell among the thieves?
Now, of these three, the Levite, the priest that know the Lord, the Samaritan that think they know the Lord but don't know nothing. Which one you think was acting neighborly toward this? Now the man got to actually think about it and put himself in the shoes and think like that. If it was me, shoot, I want help. Forget if it's a Samaritan. Forget if it's a Gentile. That's why it'd be amazing when you see somebody out here that got raised up by like skinheads and straight hating on people, and they go off to college or something, or they go in a place and get jammed up, and the very person that they hate, they're caught between a rock and a hard place, and they get help. And it crumbles their whole psyche. You know what I'm saying? Now they like, well, I still don't like niggas, but you good, dude. You know what I'm saying? But it starts them off there. Seeing like, man, everybody got the same blood. Everybody put their pants on men put their pants on the right way. Listen, man, we all in the same ship, but just a different boat. I mean, just same ship, but a different part of the boat. There it is. All right, you understand? So, yeah, that's it. So he said, which of these three thinkest thou was neighbor unto him that fell among the thieves? And what was his answer?
And he said, he that showed mercy on him. Then said Jesus unto him, go and do thou likewise.
And now, if you do thou likewise, what is he going to get ultimately? What was the first question that he came up with? He said at 25, and behold, a certain lawyer stood up, tempting him, saying, Master, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? So if you do this likewise, what's the goal? To what neighbor? Whoever. You know what I mean? So there it is. You know what I mean? I hope that answers your question, fam. Praise the Lord.
It's not about the lesson. Just a question I had, because I heard a couple arguments on this topic before.
Gotcha.
And just since we have kids and we keep it
G-rated. Yeah, got you.
So marriage is honorable, the bed undefiled. And of course, intercourse was made for a married man and a married woman.
Hebrews 13.
So my question is it okay or legal, all right, to know your wife on the Sabbath? Because I was told at one time it wasn't from a long time ago. So is it okay to know your wife on the Sabbath?
I feel you. I feel what you're talking about. All right, well, let's go. Very good question, brother. You know what I'm saying? Because, praise the Lord for mercy. Because when I first got into this joint, you know what I'm saying, it was shoot 'em up, bang, bang. So listen, Hebrews 13. Hebrews 13, for where my brother went to. All right, y'all need to stop out there, yeah. Terrible. Hebrews 13. All right, pick it up at verse 4. Well, you know what? Let's read into it. Pick it up at verse 1, and we're going to verse 4. We're going to read into it.
Let brotherly love continue. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares.
You know what? Hold on. Excuse me. Just a sidebar right here. I got this little piece on it. You see what he said about entertaining strangers? I honestly think one time I did do that, man. And I ain't gonna go into great detail because I was like, I seen this dude. It was the strangest way I met this dude. You know what I mean? And it was late at night, and this dude just popped up from nowhere. You know what I mean? I would have to really go through their story, but shook this man's hand, and the way that he shook my hand and was looking at me, like it stopped me in my tracks. But I digress. We can talk about this later. You know what I'm saying? We can talk about this later. You know what I mean? But to get to the what's name at hand. Remember what? Verse 3.
Remember them that are in bonds, and bond with them, and them which suffer adversity, as being yourself also in the body.
Mm-hmm.
Marriage is honorable in all.
Okay.
And the bed undefiled.
All right. Marriage is honorable and all. But hold on. But there are some things that can make you dishonor your bed. And like one, being on that time when she's supposed to be separated. Menage 4, 5, 6. You understand what I'm saying? All right. So listen. So now what are we talking about? The basis of this right here is how can you make your bed defiled? Okay, other than the obvious what I just spoke about. But now we're talking about here's how the bed. When you're married, good, have at it. But who's going to get judged? So marriage is honorable and all, and the bed undefiled. But
whoremongers and adulterers, God will judge.
All right. Can't have a whoremonger. That's the man. Without the whore. All right. You can't have an adulterer without the adulteress. This is how you make your bed undefiled. Why? Because the man that is married to a woman, you know what I mean, should not be, the other man should not be sleeping with his wife. Oh, what if they're both married? Because, you know, we got a very jaded view in society. You know what I'm saying? Well, we're both married, but, you know, I have a husband. He has a wife. She has a wife. I mean, he has a wife. She has a husband. And they get, you know, they do secret lovers. That's what we are. Get married. You know what I mean? And then they're together. Well, you know, it's like it cancels itself out. You know, I done heard a few things. Nah. You just destroyed, y'all just became adulterers. And according to the book, what happens to adulterers? Let's not talk about it. Let's read it. Let's read what happens to adulterers. Huh? Now I'm going over here to well, before I get to the adulterers, go to Leviticus 15. Go to Leviticus 15. Because this was going to make your bed crazy. Leviticus 15. Pick it up at verse 1. We're going to do some skipping.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when any man have a running issue out of his flesh, because of his issue, he is unclean.
Okay, if any man has a running issue because of his flesh, coming out, especially you have a boil or, you know, blood coming out, you know what I'm saying? Anything that has a discharge, all right? This is just in your flesh. You're unclean, all right? Keep going.
And this shall be his uncleanness in his issue, whether his flesh run with his issue, or his flesh be stopped from his issue. It is his uncleanness.
All right, so now can he sit on his bed? Keep on reading. Keep reading.
Every bed whereof he lieth that have the issue is unclean, and everything whereof he sitteth shall be unclean.
Keep going. What about his clothes?
And whosoever touches his bed shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the eve.
So now, although now this is just the man with the running issue. Now, although he is the one with the issue, he can't sit on his bed. He's touching his clothes. He's unclean, and the bed is unclean. Clothes are unclean. You gotta wash all that. Now you come and touch him. You come and touch him. Now you become unclean, although you don't have no running issue, because The Lord said, "Be holy, for I am holy." So it's like, you know, we was a holy nation. So to be real quick, you can exercise these laws when your nation is dealing, when your land is clean. You know, you can't. A lot of things, like, although it's all these laws here, and they are good, but a lot of them really are what's the word I'm looking for? Becomes mute because we're in a defiled land, eating our defiled bread amongst the Gentile. You know, you can't even keep things clean. Like, you can be as clean as you want to, try to be as clean as you want to here, but yet they got GMO stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can only do but so much in the land that we're into. So you may not sleep with your wife, not even in the same bedroom when it's that time. But you got one toilet in the house. You really ain't supposed to be cooking for you. You can read this here, you know what I mean? Anything that she touches is going to be the same thing with the man when he got to run an issue, whether it be copulation or whether it be blood or whatever, you know what I mean? That is unclean until evening. You dig? So let's go scoot over here. Let's go to where we're getting at. 15. 16. Read 16.
And if a man's seed of copulation go out from him, then he shall wash all his flesh in water and be unclean until the eve.
Keep going.
And every garment and every skin whereon is the seed of copulation shall be washed with water and be unclean until the eve.
So now understand, remember what happened when the Lord came, when Israel came out of Egypt, and the Lord is getting ready to meet with them. He told Moses, hey, listen, had the children of Israel wash their clothes, tell them not to come at their wives. You know what I'm saying? That's in Exodus chapter 19. You dig? So, you know, they meeting the Lord. The Sabbath day, you know, you ain't supposed to be dealing with nothing like that. So if you're supposed to refrain from any pleasure on the Lord's Sabbath, you know what I mean, on the Sabbath days, then, you know, the example is sitting right there. You know what I mean? In Matthew, in Exodus chapter 19. You dig? You know what I mean? Isaiah 58. You know, you're not supposed to. Well, look, so many places. Pick it up at. Let's just stay right here for a second, because I just want to keep on reading this. The woman, 18. Read 18.
The woman also with whom man shall lie with seed of copulation, they both shall bathe themselves in water and be unclean until the evening. And if the woman have an issue, and her issue in her flesh be blood, she shall be put apart 7 days, and whoever touches her shall be unclean until the eve. And everything that she lieth upon in her separation shall be unclean. Everything also that she sitteth upon shall be unclean.
Mm-hmm.
And whosoever touches her bed shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the eve.
Now, what's is the Lord just doing this just for ritual? We have to understand why it's this way. You're not supposed to go if the man is unclean by reason of uncleanness, whether it be copulation, whether it be blood or anything, he cannot go into the tabernacle of the Lord. He's going to die. See, it's about our land. It's about our land. It's about where the Lord is at. Remember, the Lord is walking up and down amongst his people. He's in there. Remember, he has where, you know, if you have a paddle to ease yourself, you're supposed to go out, take that, ease yourself, take the paddle, cover it up. He says, for I, the Lord thy God. This is Exodus chapter 23. You know, walketh among you, because God is here. So nothing, he can't be around nothing unclean. This is why the woman goes and is separated. The women had a whole separate place. You know what I mean? Because he can't have anything defile where the Lord is at. The Lord had that temple there. We was in the land, and we were governed by these holy statues that was showing us how to be holy. You know, so we had to be that way the whole time. 31 says what?
Thus shall ye separate the children of Israel from their uncleanness,
That what?
that they die not in their uncleanness
When what?
when they defile my tabernacle that is among them.
This is what it's about. Dig? So, you know, yes, one sec. Go ahead. No. If we was here, like I said, it's a, yeah, you know what I mean? We're different people. We say yeah, like, because it's a mute point. It's really mute. Say you try to stay clean as you want to. We're in a hotel, God. How many people on a cycle who just got finished doing the do whatever came and touched the you know what I mean? You can't. It's impossible to stay in the land that is defiled and you be clean. It's impossible. But you do the best you can. You do the best that you can where you at. You understand? And that's how you gotta exercise with a little bit with common sense here. It's impossible for the nation. That's why the Lord gonna come back and clean this nation, clean this world up, so that He can make righteous His law. He's gonna establish His righteousness again. You know what I'm saying? Look here. No. You didn't. I just want to see where I wanted to attack it from. Go to Isaiah 42. Isaiah 42 real fast. And let's pick it up at verse 21. That's 121.
The Lord is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. He will magnify the law and make it honorable.
See, it's not, his law is not honorable now. You know what I'm saying? And it can't be in a land that is totally devoid of what the Lord is talking about. You know what I mean? When you start getting understanding about the Lord, you start understanding why the woman is separated for 7 days. You start understanding why the man, the Lord takes the man and puts him under the covenant of circumcision. Because when it's all said and done, you understand that in the 8th day, what the plan is. With the man, it's not going to be no more flesh. Woman, it's not going to be any more blood. So even through creation, the Lord is showing you, He's showing you His plan for the salvation of man. When it's all said and done, there's no more flesh and blood in the Father's kingdom. So now, what you mean, brother? When, yeah.
As far as the man and woman to be able to still do such on the Sabbath?
No, it's not. You know, you don't want to. You want to. Isaiah 58, real fast.
58.
You don't want to be unclean. Listen, the Lord made it feel good and be that way because He wants you to have children.
Right.
He wants them to procreate.
Right.
And you supposed to, excuse me, you supposed to, what did I say? Isaiah 58.
Isaiah 58.
You supposed to have it. Matter of fact, you're supposed to have it all the time. Matter of fact, it says, the Lord say, be ravished with her, you know what I mean, with her, everything, you know what I'm saying? But watch this. Keep that Isaiah 58. Go to 1 Corinthians real fast. 1 Corinthians 7.
Want me to still keep 42?
Yes, I do. No, 42 is done.
1
Corinthians chapter 7. 1 Corinthians chapter 7. And look, because relations within itself it's not a bad thing. It's not an issue. It's to fulfill a purpose. Okay? And some people's desires are more than others, But God is not, you know, and if it is that way, then so be it. God is not smoking your boat, your blowing your smokestack. You know what I mean? But you have to. There's a time when you're supposed to stop. There's time when you do it. All right. So watch this. Pick it up at verse 1.
Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication.
Now, what are we doing here? Paul said, I wish that people was like I was. God gave him a certain amount of grace that could do that. That's not for everybody, though. You know what I mean? And besides that, if everybody was like that, then we couldn't keep the commandment of the Lord, which said, be fruitful and multiply. So it was given to whom it was given to. So now he says, but to nevertheless, to avoid fornication. That's what we're trying to get away from. You know what I mean? Fornication, because we read adulterers, you know what I'm saying? And fornicators, they're going to have their place in the lake of fire. So now, to avoid fornication, what?
Let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband.
What are we supposed to do?
Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto the husband.
Now, benevolence does not necessarily mean relations. It means, due affection. You know what I mean? Also, you know what I mean? Keep going.
The wife have not power over her own body.
Come on.
But the husband, and likewise also the husband have not power over his own body.
All right.
But the wife.
But come on, verse 5 is where we're getting to.
Defraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent for a time.
So now, except it be, you don't keep it away from each other. You don't have power over yourself. She doesn't have power over herself. So, people shouldn't be having a headache too many times. You dig what I'm saying? So because, for what? It says, except to be with consent for a time. One of those times would be time of separation. It's going to say here too, you know what I mean, for fasting, for prayer. You dig what I'm saying? Get closer to the Lord about this thing. Go ahead, brother.
That ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again.
So that what?
That Satan tempt you not from your inconsistency.
So this is why. So you don't want to be tempted by Satan, because if you defraud one another, this is what's going to happen. The neighbor that does look good, but you was under control because your desires was quenched. You know what I'm saying? You start defrauding. Now, the neighbor that does look good and that I had control over my own faculties, we're looking at, all of a sudden it's going to be like, you're going to do that LL look. You know, that lust long, you know what I'm saying? Or look too long, you start to lust, you know what I'm saying? Then it's going to come into play. So you start understanding, brothers, that God is really, through Paul, putting you on game. He's just really putting you on game. Like, listen, know your husband, know your wife. You know what I'm saying? Get in the routine, because understand, if your husband's a little more active, then you know what? Your body's not your own. Get your mind prepared to do what it is. Husband, if your wife is a little bit more active, then guess what? You need to get your mind right, because the Bible said, like the book said, the wife has not power over her own body. The husband don't have power over his body. So it's like, you got to know each other. You got to know the moves, because your adversary, the devil, is walking around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. And if you start, like, you know how women, make them mad. They be on some old, you sleeping on the couch tonight. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So it's like, it shouldn't be that way. Yo, you know what I mean? Like, playing with, like, it can't be that way, or vice versa. You know what I'm saying? It's been situations where, it was the woman on the prowl. You know what I'm saying? And dude, like, please no. You know what I'm saying? But it's so but it's all so that Satan don't get in the mix. That's what it's about. So now we go back to Isaiah 58. Go to Isaiah 58. So now on the Sabbath day, so he said, defraud not one another, you know what I mean, except to be for a time or with consent and for a time. All right. So Isaiah 58. Oh. Woo. Thank you, Lord. All right, look. 56 first. Thus saith the man, 56 and 1. And then we're going to go to 58.
Thus saith the Lord, keep ye judgment and do justice, for my salvation is near to come,
Keep going.
and my righteousness to be revealed. Blessed is the man that doeth this,
Blessed is the man that doeth this.
and the son of man that layeth hold on it, that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting
That
it.
keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it. Blessed is the man, not the Israelite, not the Gentile, the man. All right, that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and what?
And keepeth his hand from doing any evil.
All right, on the Sabbath day. All right. So now look what happens. Isaiah 58, and pick it up at verse 13.
If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath,
From what?
from doing thy pleasure on my holy
From
day,
doing thy pleasure on my holy day. Go ahead.
and call the Sabbath a delight,
And call it a delight.
the holy of the Lord,
Go ahead.
honorable, and shall honor him.
You're honoring the Lord doing this. You know, it's no problem. Like I said, the bedroom is not undefiled. And like I said in Corinthians, you know what I mean? Have at it. Matter of fact, don't defraud each other from it. But it's a time and a place for everything. You know, and so you got 6 days to do all your bidding, do everything you want to do. But the seventh is the Sabbath of rest unto the Lord, holy. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want to take and separate the Father's time because you want to bump and grind. You dig what I'm saying? All right, so that's how it's supposed. You know, they doing can't even nah, they doing wrong.
I'm sure it's everything, but at the same time, they're not looking at that kind of law, that we see, that we're
What you mean?
like,
Who got the mic? You got the mic? Yeah, put the mic up there, man. They gotta hear this. Go ahead.
Like, that's something that they don't regard. As long as I've went to a Sunday church, that's not something that's regarded as you should be able to refrain from doing such. Or on holy,
Sunday.
right?
Oh, I got you. Okay, I feel you. All right, I had to feel what you going. All right, got you, cuz. All right, so look, if that verse 13 said, it got hotter in here, cuz. All right, this is, yeah, it's hotter. All right, so verse 13 says, if thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy own pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Lord honorable, and shall honor him, not doing that. Go read that.
Not doing thy own ways,
Or what?
nor finding thy own pleasure,
Or what?
nor speaking thy own words.
Then what?
Then shalt thou delight thyself in the Lord, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken it.
All right, so smooth. So you know what I'm saying? So just to add, just to put the nail in the coffin, so to speak, go to Exodus 19. Go to Exodus 19, and we're going to show you what the Lord did when he got ready to come before these people and present himself. And all, like we said, we can read where bedrooms undefiled, but it's a time and a place for everything. Look, the Lord of the universe is about to come here, your own creator. Listen, you better be clean before me or you're going to get killed. So here it is, Exodus chapter 19, and pick it up at verse 10. When you get there, go and read.
And the Lord said unto Moses, Go unto the people.
Nah, more said unto Moses, lo, I come. Exodus 19, verse. Oh, I'm tripping. Exodus 19 and verse 9. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Moses, Lo, I come unto thee in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with thee, and believe thee forever. And Moses told the words of the people unto the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord said unto Moses, Go unto the people and sanctify them today, and to and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes.
So now, why you think they washing their clothes? Obviously, because it's dirty. But guess what? Remember, if a man had a running issue or whatever like that, or they probably was getting it in. You know what I mean? If the issue get on the clothes, guess what? It's unclean. If it get on the bed, unclean. You did what I'm saying? So it's like, look, wash your clothes. You know what I mean? Wash up. Don't come at your wives. You dig? Because you about to come see the Lord. So you know what I mean? Keep reading, brother.
And be ready against the third day. For the third day, the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai, and thou shalt set bounds upon the people round about, saying, Take heed to yourselves, that ye go not up to the mount, or touch the border of it. Whosoever toucheth the mount shall be surely put to death.
All right, so you see, it's not no game here. Skip to verse 14 and read.
And Moses went down from the mount unto the people, and sanctified the people, and they washed their clothes.
And what he said?
And he said unto the people, Be ready against the third day. Come not at your wives. And it came
So
to
stop right there. So be ready at the third day. Come not at your wives. You know what I mean? So this was a time where you couldn't do this. You dig? So bedroom is undefiled. You can do things to defile your bed. You know what I'm saying? And you would just you know what it is. According to this book. So hope that helped you out, brother. You know what I'm saying? Straight. Praise the Lord. What's going on? Do we?
When is it appropriate for a woman to enter into a man's conversation when he's teaching another man about the Bible?
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man.
Go to go to I believe it's 1 Timothy. Hold on a second. Make sure I'm right. Turn to 1 Timothy real fast.
Not that was wrong, but how a person do it. You may have more knowledge, maybe, to be able to help other people identify it at the same time without
Exactly. All right. Exactly. So well, just bear with me for a second. I got to get this. All right. Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 14. And pick it up at verse 33. So I believe the question, brother, 1 Corinthians chapter 14, and we're going to pick it up at verse 33. So when is it ever lawful, or let me say it the right way, for if a man is instructing another man in righteousness or dealing with the book, should a woman just come and just jump in? Well, I mean, is the woman your wife, or is it just a woman on the street, or maybe everybody having the conversation? It's like, no, I'm saying, is it a wife? Is it the man? Is it the man and his wife, or is it a man and women that's around and y'all having a conversation? The woman just starting to. All right, well, we'll deal with the wife first. All right, so now we'll deal with the wife first, because if you're in a social setting, and me and Jake sitting here talking, and I'm like, yeah, brother, it's supposed to be like this according to the Bible, and it's like this, and then a bystander, she happen to be a woman sitting here, it's like, here, let me put it in. Now, whether the men accept it here or not is different, you know what I mean? But now, if it's your wife or a man's wife, you know what I'm saying? Your wife gonna look at this and be like, "You talking about me?" Yeah. So no, if it's a man's wife, then if two men are talking about the word, then she keeps silent. If the man invites her into the conversation, then cool. Other than that, be quiet. Why? Because we're going to read it. Everything got to be done decently in order, and God is not the author of confusion. So watch this. 1 Corinthians chapter 14, and pick it up at verse 33. Read.
For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints.
Keep reading.
Let your woman keep silent in the churches, for it is not permitted unto them to speak, but they are commanded to be under obedience, and also saith the law.
All right, so now the law is telling you to do this, but what he said? Oh well, we are standing outside. We ain't in the church. Hold on, listen. You gotta have order. Watch. He gonna address it. Keep reading.
And if they will learn anything, let them ask their husbands
Where?
at home.
Where?
At home.
Let them ask their husbands at home. If y'all sitting out in the street and you think and the wife could actually have something to be said, but we're gonna have things done decently in order, you don't cut me while I'm sitting here talking about the word unless I bring you into this. You know what I'm saying? It's not saying that she doesn't have something. She could very well have something valid to say, but we let him tell on himself.
Yeah.
So check. Don't kill the messenger, brother. You know what I'm saying? You want someone to blame? Look in the mirror. So there it is. So look. But peep this. Because we have to, this is what we have to do as becoming saints. We have to abstain from any appearance of evil. Because there's people that's looking at us. So if we don't have it in order here, and we can't bring ourselves under subjection here, how do you expect to win over the non-believer when they looking at you like that? He ain't even got his wife in order. You dig what I'm saying? Or you dig what I'm saying? So this is why it has to be this way. So check it. God put everything the way it is for order. Order. Because without order, we have chaos. And God is not the author of confusion. So watch. So verse 33 says, for God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints. Let your women keep silent in the churches, for it is not permitted unto them to speak, but they are commanded to be under obedience. See that? You know what I'm saying? As also said the law. And if they will learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home, for it is a shame for a woman to speak in the church. All right. Skip down to verse 40. And what does it say?
Let all things be done decent and in order.
Let all things be done decent and in order. Because this is what it's about. Order. You know what I'm saying? Now, if the man can come and say, we don't say that because women are very bright. There's some smarter than men. But God is like this. You have to have order. And he's a God of order. So now watch this. Turn to, now we go to Timothy. 1 Timothy chapter 1.
I'm a man. I'm not ashamed to admit. My wife, she's very knowledgeable. I'm not going to take anything from her. I learned from her.
Yeah.
At the same time, even though she's a woman, still out there. I'm dealing with that.
And that's right. It's supposed to be. It's for order. That's why it's power. Listen, it's so much power in submission.
Yeah.
Because it takes more strength to be reserved than to just let it fly. Proverbs 16. Listen, Proverbs 16. I'm keep my finger here. I'm just going to read this to you. Proverbs 16 and 32. He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh the city. Understand, it takes some strength to take over a city or to sack or destroy a city. It takes strength. But the Lord is saying here through the mouth of Solomon, he said, listen, it's better for a man to rule over his spirit. If you can learn to rule your emotions and rule your spirit, you better than somebody that can take a city over. It takes more strength to have reserve. than to just let it fly. Remember, it's sometimes best to be thought of as being a fool than to open up your mouth and actually dispel everybody's dreams. You know what I'm saying? Because the foolish readily let somebody know how they feel and end up getting took out. You know what I mean? But if you can hold your emotions behind things, you know what I'm saying, play your position in part, then you can strategize and be, better. You dig? All right, so now, 1 Timothy chapter 2, and pick it up at verse 9, brother, and read.
In like manner also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel with
With what? Shamefacedness.
shamefacedness.
Go ahead.
And sobriety.
Not with what?
And sobriety.
I said not with what? And not with?
Shamefacedness.
Keep on reading.
And sobriety. Not with braided hair.
Thank you.
Or gold. Or pearls.
So basically he's saying, listen, be the part and don't look the part. This is what he's saying. Basically, be the part and don't look the part. Go ahead. But how should they come?
Or costly array.
Go ahead.
But which cometh.
But which becometh what?
Women professing godliness.
That's right. With what?
With good works.
Verse 11.
Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection.
Why?
But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to assert authority over a man.
Or to usurp authority over a man. And he's going to tell you why. Is it because they're not as smart as man? No, that's not it. It's been proven that there are women that are very much smarter than men. But we ain't going to deal with that. That's not why he's not saying for a woman to not usurp authority over a man. But why? It says, but I suffer not a woman to teach, nor usurp authority over a man, but be in silence. Why? For what?
For Adam was first formed, then Eve, and Adam was not deceived.
But what?
But the woman being deceived was in the transgression.
That's right. So listen, Adam would have said, "Hey, listen, man. Go ahead, man." So what does that mean? Adam willfully sinned. That's what that means, right there. But Eve was deceived. She got deceived. So it's like, wow, we got order here now. Now the Lord established order. It's going to be the man, then it's going to be the woman. You know what I mean? And the man, this is the power. This is because God deals with order. When you read in Numbers 30, see, the man has the power to take back the word of a woman if he didn't hear it. Let me be clear. When one makes a vow, you gotta stick to it, don't you? What comes out of your mouth, you gotta stick to this thing. So now, go to Numbers 30, because we're gonna show you you have a great being the man and being the head is not just to pump your chest out and to say that I'm the man. No, listen. It's order in this thing because of the angels. We didn't even read that, but it's because of the angels. Because now I can take back. Your wife say, Lord, I'm gonna make a vow to stop smoking cigarettes, or I'm gonna make a vow to not drink or do anything. The man don't hear that. She makes this vow, right? To the Lord. The man comes in and be like, you made a vow to the Lord to do what? He has the power to say, Lord, scratch that. Don't listen to that. And the Lord will honor what the man say. Now, because he's her head, he's her cover. Because when Eve partook of the information that Satan gave her, and when she went and turned and gave to Adam, all it was conversation. He could have simply said, "Well, man, you sound like a foolish woman," like Job said. You sound like a foolish woman, man. You talking like a foolish woman, and it kept it pushing. We'd probably be living, and then next 100 years we just turn into God. You think that's what it could have probably been right now? We don't know, but because Adam blew that, he listened to her and transgressed God. So now that's why the order comes in. It's always find out the why. You said you get the knowledge, you get the information, you get the wisdom, but get the understanding, get the why. This is why, not because you as a woman. Nah, God has order. And he's showing you why it's this way. That's why we got to come underneath the order of God. And that's why women wear the head covering. Not that it's a beautiful wrap. It's you saying, God, I acknowledge your order. I'm going to do it. Now, what's happening in the heavenlies is this. As you have your head covering, the angels that you can't see that's under the chains of darkness recognize that you recognize the order of God. Now they can't touch you. You dig? This is what this is about. Because we wrestle not with flesh and blood, but with spiritual wickedness in high places. This was saying is the war is not against the flesh. The war is what's going on, what you can't see. The angel that's talking to you in your ear. You dig what I'm saying? That's been looking at you your whole life. Looking at you your whole life, looking at what you watch on TV, looking at what you listen to, looking how you drink, and when you start drinking, you start doing X, Y, Z. Oh, I understand. Let me go talk to this girl over here. That's going to get him. You know what I'm saying? He's starting to drink. Here, let me go talk to this girl over here. Now she's going to start touching you. Yeah, you know what? You know, damn, she look good, don't she? Yeah, you know what? She do look good. She look good. Why do you think it calls spirits? You dig? People be getting open. Like, yo, I'm open, man. You have John got me, yeah. And the angels like, yeah. So check it. Where was I going? Boom, 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 boom.
We was in
Numbers.
30.
Go to Numbers 30 real fast. Numbers 30. Y'all remember when y'all was like that? Stop lying. Y'all remember. Y'all remember that. Look at him. Oh man, the good life. You know what I mean? If only you knew. You get it right now. Numbers 30 and pick it up at verse all right, pick it up at verse 1. And when you get there, brother, go ahead and read.
And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessings.
Numbers 30.
Ooh,
Numbers 30. I'm like, it's not reading that. That's not what I'm seeing, guys.
sorry about that.
You good. Numbers 30 here, and I'm gonna pull y'all.
I'm here.
Look, Numbers 30. Listen, brothers and sisters, do Numbers 30, and then look up, put a what's name in Ecclesiastes chapter 5. Put a marker in Ecclesiastes chapter 5. So Numbers 30, and when you get there, brother, go ahead and read verse 1.
And Moses spake unto the head of the tribes concerning the children of Israel, saying, This is the thing which the Lord have commanded.
Now, who is he speaking to? The heads of the tribe. Heads of the tribe he's speaking to, giving these commandments, right? Go ahead.
If a man vow a vow unto the Lord, and swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceeded out of his mouth.
So self-explanatory. What I said in Ecclesiastes chapter 5, it says, keep thy foot. Ecclesiastes chapter 5 and verse 1 says, keep thy foot when thou goest into the house of God, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Verse 2 says, be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thine heart be hasty to utter anything before God, for God is in heaven, and thou upon earth. Therefore let thy words be few. Because what we just read in the Numbers, the man that make a vow before God and bind his soul to him, you got to do that. You held to that. So now what about the woman? Let's see what about the woman?
Verse 3.
Go ahead.
If a woman also vow a vow unto the Lord, and bind herself by a bond, being in her father's house.
Now listen. Now she's in her father's house. She don't have no husband, but the father is the one that's over, because he's the head of his family. That's why the father gives the woman away to the man, and then he becomes the head. All right, go ahead.
In her youth, and her father hear her vow, and her bond wherewith she have bond her soul, and her father shall hold his peace at.
So now he hear the woman make a vow, and he don't say nothing about it. What's he supposed to do?
Then all her vows shall stand.
Now it's going to stand. because the father's go ahead, he let it ride. On the flip side of that, though, what?
And every bond wherewith she had bond, her soul shall stand.
Go ahead.
But if her father disallow her in the day that he heareth, not not any of her vows or of her bonds wherewith she hath bond her soul shall stand, and the Lord shall forgive her because her father disallowed it.
See that? This is the purpose. The father, he ain't here when she's made her vow, and he didn't hear it, and he came in. And he said, Lord, disallow this thing. The Lord is going to disavow it because the man came in and said, boom. This is what the head covering represents. This is why the man is supposed to be, he's the head of the household, because of these things, the power that the Lord has given the man. This is why. This is it. It's deeper than rap. Once again, this is deeper than that. It's the order that God put in. So now go back to 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Chapter 11. We'll do chapter 11 real fast. 1 Corinthians chapter 11. The man has the power, man, to disallow vows. First Corinthians chapter 11. And look at the first verse and pay attention. Pick it up.
Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Christ.
All right, be followers of me, even as I am of Christ. Keep going.
Now I praise you, brethren, that ye remember me in all things,
And do what?
and keep the ordinances
As what?
as I delivered them to you.
So now, remember me in all things, and keep these ordinances as I delivered unto you. Right? Who he delivering to? He's delivering to the Corinthians that are Gentiles, right? That don't know nothing about the law, statutes, commandments, that has been living their own type of way, but they have decided to take on Israel and the attributes. So now, when you read through Acts, you start seeing where Paul and the disciples, they're going through setting up churches in different places. So these letters are admonishing them for things that they had wrote to Paul about. And he's writing these letters back, checking on the churches and answering the letters that we ain't privy to. You know what I'm saying? But that Paul was dealing with. So now he's telling them that now I praise you, brother, and that ye remember me in all things and keep the ordinances. What's the ordinances? Remember the answers. That's the answers of the Lord. How to act, how to be. As I delivered them unto you. And now he's going to start giving the order. Keep reading.
But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ.
Come on.
And the head of the woman is the man.
Uh-huh.
And the head of Christ is God.
Go ahead. So now he showed you what the order is. Keep reading.
Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonors his head. But every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with her head uncovered, dishonor her head.
All right. So listen, and we're going to start seeing, brothers, is that, like I said before, the reason for the head covering is not just to put it on. It's acknowledging the order that God has laid out for the saints to be dealing with. All right. And it tells you why. Skip to verse 10.
For this cause ought the woman to have power over her head because of the angels.
There it is. It's just so you can have power over your head. You don't get that power because you're being obedient to what the Lord is saying to do. And when the angels see it, they're going to report to the Lord. The angel, Lord, yeah, she's obeying what you got going on. She's giving to your order and what's happening. Then you can deal with it. The angels of the Lord encamp around about those that what? Fear him. So ain't nobody going to be able to get to you. Does Job fear you for not? Haven't you put a hedge around him? You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you don't, I ain't going to put no head covering on, and you being disobedient to the order, now you're liable for Satan to get in, because the angels looking like, yeah, they saying they love you, Jesus, but hey, I don't see no head covering on. She ain't paying attention to your order that you put out. You dig? So Paul says this. Go to 14 and 37, and then we'll be done with this real fast. 14 and 37.
Do not eat.
14 and 37. 1 Corinthians 14 and 37. And then we're done.
If any man think himself to be a prophet or spiritual, let him acknowledge that the things that I write unto you are the commandments of the Lord.
So now if you call yourself spiritual, you think you're a prophet, you think that you doing this, he said, the things that I write unto you is as the commandments of the Lord. You dig? So, you know, that's so, you know, you take that how it is. If any man think himself to be a prophet or spiritual, let him acknowledge that the things that I write unto you are the commandments of the Lord. So you remember to take it and obey the ordinances as I gave them unto you, because I gave them unto you, showing you the order of how God is and what you're supposed to do and why everything is the way it is. So I hope that answered your question. Straight. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. You good too, brother? You smooth? Anybody else something? Anything?
Hello.
right.
Really?
All right, so I know every time when we, as men, we supposed to when we talk about God, we're supposed to uncover our heads. Now, at work, I have a wave scarf on. Now, this might be a little extra, but I'm saying, like, someone even asked me anything about the Bible, should I then like still take out the wave scarf, even if it's a quick question or anything like that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, so I'm just saying, like,
Like,
I mean, brother, are you going? I mean, if you did for an hour, bro, I would admonish that you know what I mean, take it off. But you know, in passing, the brother asks you a question, you know, or whatever, you know what I mean.
It's like 2 hours. Like, we ain't sit there like every time.
Yeah, well, you at work too, you know what I'm saying.
Right.
You ain't in a setting like this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You at work, and we're in captivity, brother. So it's like you got to exercise a little bit. You know, that's just like okay, you driving down the street in your car. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, something happened and you got to pray to the Lord. You know what I mean? You about to get into an accident. You going to take your head. It's our praying to, you know what I'm saying? Like, you dig what I'm saying? Like, with certain measures, you know what I mean? You got to just use, you have to use discretion, you know what I mean? And, like, understand. Because you're at work.
Right.
You're there. You're on the plantation. You're not there to do the what's name. You know what I mean? But in passing, you can do that. Like when I was on a bus. You know what I'm saying? I'd be on a bus or on a train and I'm going to work. It took me like 2 hours to get to work or whatever. So I got my hat on, you know what I'm saying? I'm sitting there chilling, you know what I mean? I might be reading a book or whatever, you know, we starting to talk. So, you know, we just start, oh, I see you got the Bible. Yeah, you know, reading the Bible, blah, 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 this, that, the third. We talking 5 minutes turn into 10 minutes. 10 minutes turn into, let me show you the script real fast. Then it's like, you dig? You know what I'm saying? But in passing, it's like you sitting here busting it up. Yeah, you know, you the children of Israel, whatever, you know what I mean? You got the joint on. You ain't popping no script. But then after a minute, you know what I'm saying? If you really into it, you really admonishing and trying to show a person the word, then you take that cap off. And you showing them right there the word, you know what I mean? That's how it be.
I got you.
Smooth.
Main question. All right. So, I think someone explained it to me, but I'm not sure. In Mark chapter 10:18, Jesus said, the guy called him good. So Jesus said, "Why are you calling me good?"
Mark chapter 10, you said?
Yeah. I wonder, why did he say that?
Okay.
Because I mean, if he is Jesus, you know, and he's giving us our salvation.
I got you. I got you, brother. Hold on, I got you. I got you. Hold on. I'll let you come on up here and teach you once. You know, come on up. All right, so listen. No, I'm playing. All right, so listen. Mark chapter 10, verse 18. All right. When you get there, brother,
18.
pick it up at 17.
And when he was gone forth into the way, there came one running and kneeled to him and asked him, Good master, what shall I do that I may inherit eternal life?
Okay. So he acknowledging that he's Jesus is who he is. Call him master when Jesus told call no man master on earth and no man your father on earth. But he's showing him his humility right now. And Paul's going to make it clear. When we read Paul, watch. When we read Romans, it's going to be clear why he said call no man good. Because guess what? Is any man on this earth good? Good enough to get salvation? Good enough to pay for your own salvation? No, that's why he said all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. There is none not good. No, not one. We're going to read that. So watch. So now, although Jesus didn't commit sin, he came as a man. You know what I'm saying? And he's showing you nothing's good in this. And Paul's going to make it plain. So now, and when he was gone forth into the way, there came one running and kneeling, said, Good master, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? And 18.
And Jesus said unto him, Why thou callest me good? There is none good but one, that is God.
All right, so he let you know God is good. Now turn to Romans chapter 7. Better yet, Romans chapter, Romans chapter 5 first, real quick. Now, is it 5? No, sorry. Romans chapter 3. 3 and verse 23.
For all have sinned and come short of the glory of God.
All right, now go to verse 10.
As it is written, there is none righteous, none, not one. No, not one.
All right, as it is written, there is none righteous, no, not one. Keep going.
There is none that understandeth. There is none that seeketh after God.
Keep going.
They are all gone out of the way. They are together become unprofitable.
Go ahead.
There is none that doeth good. No, not one.
So you understand?
Yeah.
There's none that do it good. Y'all peeping?
Right.
None that do it good. No, not one. Right. Now go to 7. Go to Romans chapter 7 and pick it up at verse 24. Read it.
O wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from the body of this death?
See, so look what Paul said. Paul said, "Oh, wretched man that I am." Say, first of all, there's none good, no, not one. There's none righteous. So Jesus said, the only one that's good is God, because he's perfect. Jesus came down here in this flesh, which is not perfect. When do you become perfect? When do you become perfect? That's right. Now you can't die no more. You're not corruptible no more. You ain't gonna have pain. You ain't gonna be, I'm lusting after this, I'm lusting after that. Nah, you'll be perfect when you get that perfect body. So that's why he's saying ain't none good but God. Because he's perfect. He can't die. You can still die. You can still get sick. You can still get perished. You can still perish. Plus, as is written, there is none righteous, no, not one. What good are you? Even if you have physical strength, you're still going to diminish. When the woman is beautiful when they're young, you're going to get old and you dig what I'm saying? So you good? Is that good? You die. Is that good? You're delusional. Nah. So you get it though. You understand?
Yeah.
So listen. God is good. He's just showing it. Although Jesus, he was straight, but he's showing you his humility. The meek shall inherit the earth. Those that boast about themselves, they're going to get humble. Those that abase themselves are going to get boasted. That's why in Philippians, turn to Philippians 2. Right. You know, I came to do a job. I ain't gonna sit here and boast. I ain't gonna boast about, I'm God. You know what I mean? Hey, y'all, you know I was God before this? Nah, he came here and he humbled himself. Philippians chapter 2 and verse 5.
Let this mind be in you, which was also in Jesus Christ,
In Christ Jesus. Right? So now look how he coming at you. Ain't none good but God. He said, now let this mind be in you that is in Christ Jesus, right? So he didn't boast or nothing. Peep it. Read.
Whom being in the form of God, through it, though it not robbery,
Thought it not robbery.
To be equal with God.
Right. But what?
But made himself of no reputation.
Reputation. So he made himself of no reputation. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, man, look, I know I'm God. I know I look like that, but guess what? I came here. I humbled myself. You dig? That's why he said ain't none good but God. I ain't even perfect yet. I can still die. You dig what I'm saying? So, but made of himself no reputation, that took upon him the form of a servant, and was made in the likeness of men. And what? Verse 8.
And being found in fashion as a man,
What did he do?
He humbled himself,
even
and became obedient unto death, even the death of the cross.
Dig? All right. So you see, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, ain't none good but God, huh? All right. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. I don't know what you're talking about. No, it isn't Isaiah, I believe. Hold on, let me get it. Hold on. You're no, not one. I had. You know what? Israel's always trying to get a rise out of you. You know what I'm saying? What's that? 3, right? I have it written down. Boom, 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 boom. No. Let me see. Yeah, that's what. Psalms 14. Psalms 14 and 3. Let me see. It's another place too. Let me see.
53.
Psalms 53 and 1, Psalms 14 and 3. You can read Psalms 14. Let's read Psalms 14. The fool has said in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. The Lord looked down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand and seek God. They are all going aside. They are all together become filthy. There is none that doeth good. No, not one. Isaiah 64 and 7. That's what he said. Four says, there's none that calleth upon the name. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so we said Isaiah 14 and 3 and 53 and Isaiah 14 and 3. Isaiah 14 and 3. Yeah. He said, hot.